Hello, friends. It's your friend Lee. Lee likes bikes. Over the past about 20 years of serious-minded full-time mountain bike communicating and coaching, I've worked with about 10,000 riders of all styles and levels, and it's been wonderful. And I'm really stoked to see our beloved sport growing. Trail access is improving. Bikes are getting ridiculous, and there are lots and lots of coaches out there who are helping our friends. That's great. That's awesome. However, in my work with regular people who are out there consuming content online, trying to learn online or go take classes with some of these coaches, I see a fair amount of suffering. I see a lot of frustration and self-judgment because it's not working. I see people getting physically injured, like either chronically from bad movement patterns or acutely from crashing. And and honestly, I'm a sensitive guy. It breaks my heart to see these people who love the sport, who are consuming content in good faith, but who are suffering for it. I am deeply driven, for whatever reason, it's my thing, to help you all live your best lives using the mountain bike as a vehicle. To that end, I'm going to offer the following video in which I give you some suggestions to maybe look through your feed and decide who you're watching for fun and entertainment. That's awesome. And which of the coaches you follow you might choose as your coach. If you have any questions, let's talk down in the comments. Be well. Hello, my mountain biking friends. You might have noticed that there's quite a bit of online content, online free instructional content about how to ride your mountain bike. Some of it's really, really cool. Some fun stuff out there. I really like the creators who are getting into the humor and the culture of mountain biking. That's cool. There's some creators who are just fun to watch ride, shred. And there's a lot of them, though, who are putting out instructional content. Okay. If you are consuming this content for fun, you have your favorites, enjoy yourself, right? Great. If you're consuming this content in the hopes that you will first learn a skill, second, integrate it into your body, and third, be able to execute it and improve your riding experience, it behooves you not to skip around from person to person, method to method. Your system will never get it. You need a coherent system. So I recommend finding one that works for you and following it, right? And sticking with that person or method. In my case, the person and the method go together very one-to-one. Okay. And so here are, and of course your feed's full of this stuff, and of course you haven't dedicated your life to watching people ride and coach and figuring out how good they are. That's my job. So I'm going to help you make your decisions with, let's say, 5 things to consider when watching free instructional content. This will help you determine whether this is someone you want to watch for fun or someone you want to look to for instruction online or in person. Fair enough? Okay, first of all, does this make sense? If you're consuming this sort of content, you're probably kind of a bit of an intellectual. If you were a completely embodied natural athlete, you'd be out shredding, right? So just does it make sense? Like, listen to their logic. Is it cohesive? Does it make sense? Would it stand up in a college paper? If no, there you go. Don't follow it. Second, does what they're telling you to do feel good to your body? A great example is there are still people out there suggesting that your elbows should be very, very high. If it hurts your shoulders to do that, don't do it. Your body knows. If your body doesn't want to do it, it's not a good thing to do. Don't do it. Okay? Third thing. Is what they're telling you simple? Our friend and fellow cyclist, Mr. Albert Einstein, said, everything should be made as simple as possible, but no simpler. Corollary thought is if someone is making something seem complicated, they probably don't understand it yet, right? As an example, I've been at this a long time. And when I started, I was Mr. Smarty Pants, coming off of some other careers. And I came in as very much an intellectual. And when I started, writing the books, that was an intellectual thing. When I started creating a teaching curriculum, man, I had skills pyramids. I had a tree that showed the interaction of every single skill. I used to have long lists of things to teach people, and that's just where I started, and that's where a lot of people still are. Okay, but I've been at this a long time, and right now, in my method, in my system, I really only teach 3 things: mindset, but we don't do like mindset. It's integrated in everything we do. We teach you how to pedal efficiently, and I teach you this integrated elliptical row, anti-row pumping motion. Between mindset, pedaling, and pumping, you can do everything you want on a bike. Everything, except for maybe some fancy tricks. But for most riders, that's all you need. It's simple. Okay. And by the way, if someone makes it much more complicated than that, it's an indication that, let's say, they're still in the process of understanding how mountain biking works and teaching works, or they've already picked a method and they're calcified on it. Okay. 4, is it consistent? Is it consistent? For my part, I do my best to only teach things that are just true, right? So mindset's always a good idea. Pedaling well, once you get a good pedal stroke, is the same sitting, standing, wheelie drop, technical climb, gate start. It's all the same skill. It's a portable skill that happens to tie to good running technique. So it's pretty useful. The row anti-row, of course, is the master pattern for shredding a mountain bike, motocross, skiing, BMX. It's part of swimming. It's part of running. It's part of kayaking. It's a universal movement pattern, right? If the coach you're looking at and is like me, where back when I used to say, well, okay, here's a way to corner, and here are all the details about that, and it works for this kind of a corner, like a flat corner. But here's another technique for a burn, right? But then if it's like not quite steep enough, here's another technique. Like if they're giving you different techniques that are markedly different, it just isn't true. It's not fundamentally true. Not to mention then you're being taught all these decision trees and figuring out how to decide which one to use on the fly. It's never going to happen. Okay. The 5th thing I think is interesting. We'll call it a demonstration of a mind-body integration. So I have to back out on that one. Okay. Let's just say, like, you have your awareness, like your whole, like the place where you live, like that place, like, oh, here's Lee, right? Okay. Just to make it something we can talk about, let's just say you can experience that through your body, embodiment, motion in space, athleticism, or intellectually, just to make it simple. Most of us have a predisposition. I absolutely started this whole journey a long time ago as an intellect. And over time, I've learned how to bring my embodiment online, and now I can be more or less even, or I can throttle up one or the other, depending on what I need to do, because I've been doing this full time, and I don't really care, and I have a talent for it. So I'm integrated. Okay. In general. Of course, there might be exceptions. The people who shred, the people who have just the raw confidence to like shoot a video of them handing like a dirt jump set and go, look at me, I'm badass, take a class from me. For the most part, those folks tend to be on the more natural athlete side of it. That's what allows them to be able to do that stuff. Some of them are ex-racers, right? Some high level. And to function at that level requires that the conscious mind pretty much be offline and that you're purely embodied. And this is what we're all looking for. For someone who's an intellect, it takes time to get there, but I've learned and I teach people how to do it and how to integrate. But these people from a young age, commonly, they were good at sports. And so you become an embodied athlete, physical person. And so that becomes the hammer and everything's a nail. The same way if you're raised up as an intellectual, everything's an intellectual problem, right? So these high-level athletes generally skew toward embodied. Okay. The trick is this. Coaching requires intellect and it requires integration. Okay, I think of the process of teaching, let's say, or coaching, in 3 rough steps. Step 1's easy. You can do that on a book, on a phone call, right here on the internet, right now. This is the teaching part. This is me taking an idea from my mind to your mind. That's pretty intellectual. Okay, that's important part of it, especially if you're an intellectual person. It needs to come through there before you can bring it into your body. I'm like a specialist at this thing because I get all the nerds, because I'm a nerd. I attract the nerds. Okay, so that's stage 1 is just teaching you stuff. 2, it's the action of helping you integrate the movement into your body, so it starts to become automatic. That, from a teaching standpoint, absolutely requires a combination of intellect and embodiment in a very integrated, interesting way. That's one reason I love doing it so much, because it's as exciting to me and as engaging to me as shredding trail. And of course, I'll be able to do it when I'm really old, right? Okay. The 3rd level is helping the rider be able to execute these patterns on demand in crazy situations, actually enjoy it, achieve some real high levels of joy, and then have that joy bleed into the rest of their life. That requires like a turbo level of mind, body, and for lack of a better term, emotion, energy, spirit, whatever your terms are. Like, that's the complete human, and that's the complete coach. Okay. Now, the 5th thing to watch for when you're watching these videos and you're assessing who your teacher should be is evidence of integration. Okay. Now, it's very, very common. You'll see this quite a bit if you look for it. When the rider is out just shredding, like a lot of them are very, very good riders, very high level riders. They are doing what they do. But you'll notice that what they say you're supposed to do, or what they say they're doing, is not what they're doing. I've seen this. I've hung out with a lot of high-level riders, done books, done the whole thing, and I've not met one yet. Maybe they exist, but I've not met one who can operate at that level and also understand what they're doing and express it. So if you see a rider who's saying one thing and is doing something different, especially if they did an edit and they put it out there and they were looking at a video of themselves and they still didn't notice, I don't know how you missed that. By the way, if you can't see it on yourself, how are you going to see it on a student? Just a thought. If those are different, what I do and what I say are different, then that's an indication that either the person doesn't have an intellectual awareness, which is probably true, and or there's no integration. And my friends, good teaching, either online or on Zoom or in person, requires that integration. So to review, as you're assessing, like you're in your feed, you have your faves, like maybe you're deciding like, well, who am I watching for entertainment and who am I going to choose to kind of like follow as a teacher, right? Does it make sense to you? Does it feel good? Is it simple? Is it consistent? This is the model. And does the rider / coach demonstrate a mind-body integration? If all those are yes, then that might be your person. My system has all of that. And if I'm your person, great. Let's do it. Let's have fun at it. LeeLakesBikes.com. Let's do it. Book, online school, Zoom, in person, wherever you want to do, I'm here for you. But if any of those answers are no, then you might consider that person is someone you follow and enjoy watching ride, but you don't look to as a teacher, and you keep looking. Now, if you choose my approach, great, I'm here, right? But I'm not for everybody. I know I'm not, right? Find your person, commit to the path, and if you stick with it and they are a quality teacher, you will begin to learn, you will begin to integrate, and you will begin to do it joyfully. And that's why we're here. I hope that was helpful, my friends. Absolutely, add your thoughts down there. Namaste.